Good morning, everyone. It's Erin from Celebrate. Finally getting around to doing the online class for this beautiful Little Prince or Little Princess collection, the 2-in-1. I'm going to do just the boy album for now, and then we'll do the girl album in a separate video, just so you can take a gap. For this project, you will need one bulk pack from the collection, bulk pack BP6086. See, there's 2-in-1, so there's a boy and there's a girl side to it. And you'll need the latest little mini album, which is the 7.5 inch by 5 inch MA7003. There is a tutorial already on our YouTube channel on how to make the album. So if you haven't made it up already, you will need to do that. So just go to Celebrate Crafts and have a look for MA7003, the mini album. Very easy to make up. So if you haven't done that, I suggest you pause this video, go make the album, and then come back to this. But it's very straightforward and easy to make. But we'll move on from there. Let's say you've made your album and you've got your papers. There is a cutting guide for this project, so that can all be done separately, and then we can come and assemble together. So the cutting guide is in the link in the description. So please run through the cutting guide there. Once you've done that, come back and we will assemble the project together, and I will show you how I did the chipboards. Right, so here's a quick look at the album for assembly purposes. Front, little spine, and the back. Just a quick flip through. Assembly, I'm going to just show you the basic assembly, and then obviously you can add on your little extra bits and pieces. That allows this pocket. Pocket. Band. Pocket. Are lots of flaps, but it's not complicated. There we go. So let's start with the cover of our album. Obviously, this album can be used, that would be the normal way, portraits, but I decided I wanted to use it. Landscape. I wanted to use a portrait. It's quite often we have lots of portrait photos, so I wanted to make a baby album portrait shape. Right, so to start with, on your cutting guide, you were asked to cut a few pieces and label them D. So if you can get your D pile out, I'm going to sort through mine as you sort through yours at the same time. And we are needing D9 and D10, the initial part. Then we will also need D2, and we will need D7. We'll get start with it. Okay, so out of the D's, you're needing D2, D7, D9, and D10. And then on the H block, you will be needing H2. H2. So it's pink on the back, the brown on the front. H2. This will do our entire cover. I did sand my pieces. So if you want to do the same, you're welcome to. I'm going to quickly do them now. Actually, I won't. If you want to sand, pause now and sand. I'll do it without sanding so you can see the difference between the two, one with sand versus one without, because they both look beautiful. Depends if you want a little bit scruffy or if you want it nice and neat and tidy. So we're going to start sticking. First, we're going to start off with D9 and 10. D9 and 10, we use the striped sides. So we're going to just take those paper clips off and put tape on the pattern side. Teaching a class is so much easier once the papers have all been cut. You weren't under pressure to cut them. The albums are already made up. So now it's really actually just a fun class. Okay, and then we need H2. We're using the dark side. So put tape on the back of the pink. There's been a little baby boom in my children's primary school. I had 2 little babies born from teachers last year, and then another one's due around the corner. So it's really nice to have these little albums to give as gifts. Okay, ultimately, this is what's going to happen on the front of the album. Okay, pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the blue ones down first. Leaving a small white border. Remember the folds, you want to interfere with that fold button. Yeah, mound of papers piling up. Got to bring a bin through. Okay, so remember this one is 5.5 wide by 5. So you need to make sure the 5.5 wide should line up with the blue, the top and the bottom. So join them up. It should be a small overlap. And there you go. The cover without all the pretties. Now onto the spine, which is obviously E7. Again, we're using the stripy side. Oh, maybe it's not D7. Just give me a minute. Yeah, to come into a properly. Just keep D7 aside. Not quite sure what's happened there. So I'm just going to label it again. I'll leave the spine for now until I can find the correct piece. So that was actually a little bit short for some reason. So I'm going to just keep D7 there to remind me. Okay, D2. Again, the stripy side. D2 is right. D7 is right. 7. It's centered. There you go. Right. Have it done. There's your covers. Up. We're going to go side by side so you can see what we're doing. Next pieces you'll need, apart from the E-pile. So F-pile. You'll need F7 and 8. No, not F7 and 8, sorry. Have these pre-cut for me. F5 and 4. F5 and 4. From the C-pile, C1. So now we're going to do the same as we did in the cover. So basically go in there, just check your spacing. You do want them to overlap slightly. And that's how it's going to go. Just move this one out the way for now. Take one page at a time. Little albums aren't complicated. Just got to breathe. One little page at a time. And we're using the cute little pattern side, not the strappy side. So first we start with the strips. See, there's a fold line. We don't want to interfere with that. Otherwise, it's not going to close nicely. Nice and straight. And same at the top. You want to make sure they're going to line up nicely. It's just a little trick. You take laying it up on the side like that. See, there's a blue dot there. It's lining up. Move further down, further down, further down. See it roughly, the positioning. And then when you put your blue piece in, that pattern piece, to close that gap. Obviously, please make sure your pattern is the right way around. The front didn't matter, but obviously when you open it up, you want your pictures to be the right way around. And we put him in place. Like that. So there we go. Next up, very basic little flappy. That piece is C3. C3, there should be a score line on C3. So when you fold the score, your page will fit in on your page nicely. Again, we're going to be wanting this when we open it up. Yes. So we're going to tape the back on the stripy side. Hopefully having the album next to me as I teach you is helping you just see where we're going and understand what we're doing. For me, I'm a visual person, so definitely would help me if I were doing a class. It's me can go, okay, this is where we're heading towards. Just let me know though if it helps to have the cutting guide separate, the scoring guide, all that done beforehand, and then it's just sitting down and assembling together. Cutting guides can be very, very scary, especially when you're moving on a video. You don't want to pause every 2 minutes. So like we've done this time, where it's all on digital form, you can look at the actual piece of paper, take your time, measure twice, cut once. And now assembly, you've got everything waiting to go. That's really funny though, load shedding as well. It's nice to be able to do it in batches. Like today, I'm going to have to do this one and then the girl one later because you don't have enough time between load sheddings to actually do both classes. So where there's a will, there's a way, and we will make a way. Okay, we'll come back and we'll add on our little extra pieces. Well, actually, let's just do it now. We cut these goodies apart. So there's one with cute stars. Oh, that one. Okay, there's two with cute stars, blue stars. Not that one. Let's see. Okay, so this one, world most awesome kid. We obviously don't want to lose the wording, so we're going to be sticking it on the inside of the flap so we can see all of the wording. Just remember when we do this now, we want it to look pretty from that side as well. So it just needs a little bit of a trim. Get rid of some of that orange, which is sometimes the lines don't match up perfectly. So here, all I did was took a strip of tape, and not the thick one. Just take your standard, slightly thinner one. Just going that way. So I need to tape on the right-hand side back. Just like that. Now, glue, you can see glue isn't straight at the bottom, right at the bottom. Oh, I would make a mistake while I'm teaching, wouldn't I? Goodness gracious. Okay, please excuse me. The tape needs to be on the back, on the left hand side. Just put that back there. I'll deal with that later. So unfortunately, if you were copying me, the tape on the other side. I'll come back and fix that just now. Just want it sticking to everything. Okay, so we're going to stick them like so. Use your cutting mat. Just get nice and square, square and square, and place it down. So only flip over. Stars are there. We are going to be putting some embellishments, so I'll be able to put something there just to cover that glue strip. That's page 1 done. Rolling over to page 2. More stripes. One, 75. Okay. All right, so it is. Sure. Yes. those two. And pages are all looking so similar at the moment. Getting myself very confused. So we're going to have to alter it again. Right, so needing C4, D4. Just going to double check papers. B2. Okay. Now there should be scores on C4 and D8. Okay, so we're going to put tape on the back of the scores. So on the stripy side. And we're going to put tape again. Unfortunately, this project has been done under a lot of pressure. I've been prepping for the upcoming Oz trip. So Dennis has been an absolute sweetheart and did my cutting guide and cut the papers for me and all these bits and pieces. So we might be a little bit in a shambles at the moment, but we will make it work. Right, so the fold line, score line, folding it back. So we're going to make a pocket here. So let's open it up. And just nice and straight. If you want, you can do it that way. There we go. An important bit now is to line these two up. So I'm going to just drop my ruler down there. Right on the edge of it. Let's see. More or less the spacing. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to create a pocket. So that's ultimately going to look like that. And then this is going to come here. Then the normal thin tape. Now I'm using my tape already. There we go. My thin tape just to be on the safe side. And on top of B2, see both sides have got the flag, so it doesn't matter which side you use. Right at the top of the page. Right at the bottom of the page. A little trick when you're doing this, but you really don't hold them down. So this is now going to line up with the right hand side. See, there's quite a gap, so I think I'm going to take another one. It's not vital. So I don't like things sticking out when you try to tuck something into a pocket and they catch. So I'm going to make sure they don't do that. It's a very different experience for me teaching with pre-cut papers that I haven't cut. So all of us are learning as we go along. All good. So now nice and flat. So we want with more or less even, top and bottom. Okay. Okay, now we do still have this little gap here, which shouldn't have been, but we have a whole lot of little offcuts. Just grab your offcuts and we'll fix it together. That'll be on. Yeah. Should have a balloon dotty piece. But what I'm going to do now, so that was 5 1/4, 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut this piece down to 5 1/4 by 1. 5 1/4 by 1. Put it in front of the camera. Let's do it in front of the camera to see. There needs to be 1 wide. And 5 1/4. So that was just from your offcuts. So we can fix things if there's a problem. We just make a plan. We make it our own. Okay, so that we'll put in that little gap there. You want to just a little bit funny like I am. I like this to line up nicely. So just double check it against before you stick it down. You just trim a tiny bit off if you need to. And that will go there and you wouldn't know the difference. So I'm going to just pull this tape off. So okay, the blue needs to stick down. That's perfect. And then we're going to put on the balloon side. Remember there's tape there already, so we don't need to put tape on the other side of the balloons. Side that you just put tape on now, we are going to put against the paper. So against it like that. Line up, and stick down. You know, this little mistake, I think let's quickly fix it as well in case others have done it with me. If you hold tight and didn't do it, great. You did. Go back into your little scrap pile because we put tape on the wrong section. I think maybe a little piece of barcode strip will work just to clear that up. So that's all we're going to do. Simple, quick, and easy. Just don't panic. So that, see, I'm not even cutting it until put it in place. And there we go. You just have a little bit of an extra embellishment on that page. There we go. Right. Space here, so you can see what's going on again. So we're there. So there's a little pocket. The pocket comes from a little pre-cut pile. So it's got the boxy on that side. So here it is. Okay, this pull out, just on the little fussy cut sheets. You stamp them out, punch them out. Just going to stick this one in here so you know he belongs in there. Okay, next up, nice simple one. And that is B4. You're looking for B4. B4. So on the one side, you've got the guitar. The other side, you've got the soccer ball. What we're wanting to do is do the small fold in and then the big fold there. So the guitar is on the outside. We're trying to keep the guitar on the outside. So again, that is piece B4. So B4, just so you can see, let me open it up. B4. So it's the middle piece that we're needing to put tape on at the back. So easier just to close it up again. So I put the little one in, that one on top, guitars on the front, turn it over, and time for tape. It's nice and centered. Just that one piece for that page. Let's see when we open. Just like this one. Next page is a little bit more complicated. Lots of little strips. Which seems to have been a problem. Seven. Okay, we'll need to take, check where these. Need to take H3 and we're going to cut H3 into 2 strips. So we're currently sitting at 4.5. So we're going to make it go at 3.5 and then at 2.5. Okay. This is now an offcut. Please keep it because you'll need it for the girl layouts. So those 2 pieces are from H3. And then you need H4, I2, those pieces, I2. Let's make life easier. We're working with H4. We've already cut 2 1-inch strips. Going to cut another 2 1-inch strips. So we're sitting at 2.5. We're going to cut at 1.5. And then we'll cut at, okay, then we can just leave the last piece. So we've cut it into 4 pieces. Easy peasy, no problems there. So these, there are obviously going to be different sizes. So the ones that are the same size put together, then there's one that's slightly fatter. Your fatter and a slightly smaller one, we're going to have to trim down again to be 4.5. You take the same time. Get that. 4.5. 4.5. And trim them down. Right. And then we're needing a piece from the quote sheet. Be silly, be honest, be kind. But we're using the back side. So we're going to be sticking the non-trimmed ones down to either side of this. Right, that we're needing to make that a total of 4.5 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to put tape on the back of the quote. on the very edge of the brown. Right. Now it's time to use your ruler. So we're measuring to make sure it stays at 4.5. So the blue piece by itself is 4. So we're just putting a little border on either side. So we've done quite an overkill. So if it's sitting at 4, we're actually adding on just 1/4 of an inch to either side. One at a time. There we go. So there's my ruler. There's half. There's 1/4. Use your ruler to make sure everything's nice and straight. So your part of it. And stick it down. Same again on the other side. But we're just wanting to add it to 4.5. So put this now at the 4.5 mark. This one, 0. Nice and straight. There you go. Now that it's all one piece, we just need to trim. Make it all neat and steady. To your trimmer. Just trim it a bit off. It's not like they're all lined up perfectly. Just trim them slightly, make it nice and tidy. And then we're going to stick it to our album. So we've got the brown pieces that we're going to stick in place. And then these will go on top. There's a bit of a complicated way of doing it instead of using a full sheet. But I need the paper for something else as well. It was a paper saver move. We have extra, so it doesn't matter which side you put the fatter piece and which side goes the thinner piece, or top and bottom. So I'm going to just bottom one. Nice. And now the top one. And lining them up. You can move it right down so you can see what lining up top. Up still. The edge there. There we go. And finally, we can stick this piece. What looked to be the simplest of the pages to put in ended up being the most complicated. So this one goes flat down, there's no pocket or anything. I'm going to create a nice brown border all over it. There you go. Do together. Made it work. And I think we're almost halfway through the album already. Can you believe it? Okay, the next one is a balloon piece. For your balloon pile, there should be a score. And we are looking for E1. E1 has a little score. E1. And then we're looking for little quote sheets. There's always more to explore. Yes, so ultimately, that's going to be stuck onto that. So open it up. As you'll see, it is slightly broader. This piece is slightly broader than the 4.5. So we do need to trim it down to make sure it goes back to 4.5. So just be careful. You want to cut the writing. So I go right close to the edge, as much as I can on that side, which won't be much at all. And then you take it to 4.5 this side. And of course, his tail gets cut off. But then he will fit in there. See? Let's stick the balloons down first. So on the dotty side. This is E1 going down. What's happened with the E1? Seems to be a bit bigger than it needs to be. Okay, so I'm just going to fold E1 so it doesn't block the fold line there. E1. So you did have a score line, just make the score line further down, then over the double score line. And then we're going to put some tape on the back of that over this previous incorrect score. Let's give it some strength again. Make sure your quote's facing the right way up. There you go. A little flap. Deep breath, we got through that. Next page, which takes us to the halfway mark. We are needing to get a hold of G1 and G. Let's just do G1 for now. Don't confuse everything. G1. D1. And the body roll. This is F8. Right, F8. So you get a general idea of what's going on there. First, we're going to stick down D1. D1, we're using the dotty side. D1, we're going to line up nicely at the bottom and the left-hand side, leaving a small white border. Then G1, using the wood grain piece, flip it over. It's going to flow over. Let's line up with the bottom. They either be, now let's put them flush side by side. They don't even have to overlap. Completely flush. And then your last piece that we took out. There's a small overlap there, just covering in sections. Finally, there's the first note, which is E4, E4. Something seems a bit off on E4. Is it E4? Is it? Yeah, E4 is fine. E4. You can see E4 is actually being cut in perspective, but it's fine. Same size photo, it's just going to be a landscape as opposed to portrait. This will also mean the little fox and his soccer ball will hide less of your photo. So it works out better in the end anyway. We're going to leave a little border up there. And there you go. And that's halfway through your album. Still got the decorative parts to go, but we're definitely making good headway. Just want to pause the video for a little bit to clean up my mess. I'm back to see what I'm doing. But I'll be back with you in a minute just to carry on and have some more fun. See you now. I'm back with a slightly tidier desk. You ready to carry on? Lots of fun. Next couple pieces of we're needing are going to be again in the D pile. So let's give you the right one before we go ahead. Okay, so you will need D4, and then you'll need wood grain. Which is G4. Then you will need the dotty one, which is F9. Right, so those are the pieces we're working with now. Once again, we're going to stick down the stripy one first, D4. Move one thing at a time here. Try to compose myself. D4 gets stuck flat down. No funny business with this. Managed to get a bit next to me now. Didn't get nearly as messy as I was. Okay, so D4 goes top left corner, the small little white border. And this seems to be an error with the measurements, but we will make a plan yet again. I'm scratching through my offcuts to see what piece would look good there. A little border strip. Maybe there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, got a little border strip included as well. So that's stuck down nicely. With G, we're going to create the pockets. So we're wanting to put tape on the top side and the bottom, but not the one side. And I'm going to use a skinny tape so my pocket can be as big as possible inside. And I'm already losing stuff. What was the point of cleaning up? All right, so this is now G4. G4, we're going to put straightforward top, bottom. I've moved my dots to be, because you'll see closely that there's dots on the actual wood grain. I'm wanting my dots towards the top because it matches the bottom, that one there. Not essential. I want to make sure my tape goes along this side. So it's going to go side where the fox's tail is. There we go. So remember your pockets. It's opening on the left side. Line it up. Go. Then we have this little guy. There's a space at the bottom. We put it flush, still not quite as neat as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to add my little barcode strip just to add something fun. Not sure if that's the right barcode strip, but let's have a quick look and see what else we can find. Less is more. That one's better. So there at the bottom. So we're going to stick F9 flat. Actually, sorry, I'm thinking out loud now. We're going to cut F9 in half. So currently sitting at 1.5. I'm going to cut it at 3/4. Funny now, this is not essential to it. We have a little offcut from before as well. And put our orange strip in the middle like that. So straightforward. This nice tape goes over a bit. Improvise as you go while we make it our own. So I'm going to start up at the top. Some flesh at the top. Then I'm going to put this one down. And line it up again. And then your brown strip. Need a slightly narrower tape. You can either do the orangey side or the brown side. I quite like the orange side. Tape brown side. A little difference. There you go. For the photo matching, I've done something a little bit unusual. You'll go through all your quote sheets. There's a baby boy. Now, to me, this album wasn't necessarily for a baby boy, so I didn't use that quote at all on either sheet. So, baby boy, baby boy. I flung them over and created a photo matching with them. Just trimmed them down slightly. But currently, they're sitting at 3 inches. We need them at 2.5. So just going to trim them down to 2.5. And if there's any little white pieces showing and the lines didn't match up perfectly, just trim it off. Neat and tidy. You'll see there should be a skinny little strip. There we go. Line them up together like that. I'm going to join them as one piece, then stick them down as one. If they don't line up perfectly, I can trim before I stick. Light overlap. I'm just going to trim it down to be all even. Yeah. And there's your photo match. Centered on the wood section. And your little tags. You've got a little baggy one, which is B3. So you can just simply pull B3, put it in. And then you should have a balloon one, which is E3. You can just slip that one in as well. Again, these little tags. So these were the fussy cut tags, and then I used a punch just to punch out from any of the pattern of the woods or any of the pattern papers, just to put on the back so you didn't see the funny thing. I quite liked his little face, so I aimed for his face on that paper. I punched his face out, and then the little star on the back. When you stick them together, though, and put them in the page, I put one tab at the top, one tab at the bottom. So when they're in the pocket, you can see both. They're really cute. Even if it's only half of the orange one, you can still see them. Super cute. Okay, flipping over to a slightly more complicated page. For this one, we are needing G2. Maybe some of us are confused. G2, H1. And F3. Okay, so make sure you got G2, H1, F3. So to start with, this is going to be stuck down flat, but we need to slip this little booklet thing in first before we do that. So what I'm going to do, making sure that the blue is on the outside, that needs to be stuck down like that. But to avoid having problems with our fold line, I'm actually going to stick it to the back of the wood grain. So what I'm going to do, tape. We're not going to be seeing the red. Center it. Remember, you need to still be able to move that fold, that small. So these scores like that. And then that one's going to go there. Before I did that though, I took one of my circle punches. And I just punched out half. Now, if you look at your circle punch, I don't know if you can see, there's actually little triangles here. We show you where the halfway of your circle is. So you can put your paper in to that halfway point, both sides, and punch. When we stick that down though, it does mean we will see the red there, which obviously we don't want. Red is not part of the collection we're working with. So just take a little offcut, scrap. See what you have in your scraps. It's not quite big enough. I've got a longer strip of scrap. There, I'm going to stick him down first and that down, just so we don't see that red color coming through. Obviously, I don't need the whole thing, but let's just make life easy and cut it, stick it as is. Inside. As long as you're covering wherever that punch hole is, this back in place, like that. So for F3, you're going to put tape on the back of the dots, excluding the side that you just punched half a circle out of. It makes it a bit easier to remember. So we've got that side. Getting the thinnest tape to make the pocket as big as possible. Now we're going to feed it against this, so I can see what I'm doing. Just line up so you hide all that red. There we go. Now the pocket, a little balloon piece, which was labeled A2. A2. So you can stick little A2 in its pocket. My little tab was a fussy cut hot air balloon that just stuck on both sides. So you have a cute little hot air balloon popping out of your half circle. So just keep in mind, if you do want to do the same, that when you put your hot air balloon in, you need to stick it so it will fit the right spot when you feed in your tab. So that's that one done. Make sure that one's up. Make sure they're all neat and tidy. I'm a little bit funny, so I just want to go back and trim. Make sure it's all neat when it's closed. 0.5 millimeter extra there. There we go. Now I can turn the whole thing over. So yeah, what sort of group we've created. Turn over your fussy cut sheet side. The tape down. It's ready to go in. See all the little pieces of paper reducing now. just center it. Your little tab goes in. And that is another page done. These clips. So the very next page, again, nice simple one. It doesn't look simple, but compared to what we have been doing, it is super simple. So we are needing F1, balloons and dots. F1 should have 2 score lines on it. That. All right. Please make sure your balloons are facing the right way up. So your little score line, it doesn't matter which side it's on, but just make sure the strings of your balloons are facing the right direction, which I'm battling to tell right now. There we go. So a trick is to look at the bottom of the balloons. It's like a little bunch. You know, as balloons come together at the bottom, there's a little bunch. Okay, so that way. It doesn't matter if the score opposite to what this one was. You're putting a fussy cut item on one side. It really doesn't matter. Right, so once it's folded, the middle section at the back on the dotty side, we are going to put our tape. Position it nice and centered. Yeah. This one, when you get to decorating, this little balloon is actually used as a latch. I'll just feed that in there to latch it closed. The photo mat is again from one of your little cards. I don't see the use of using a quote more than once. So all I did, stuck it on the bigger side. When I open, you obviously don't want to see funny little bits and pieces. So I just found a little offcut and stuck it down. But I'm going to show you. I may as well do it now while I'm with you. It's a little bit. So just take note with your photo mat where that fold over line is, because obviously you don't want to be sticking it down and then you can't open your fold. So I'm taking it from, I'm going to do from 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth stripe. Double check that fourth stripe roughly. Scrapbooking it isn't a science. You just need to just have fun and enjoy it, play with it. What does it say? Say it's a work of heart, not a work of art. That's what makes it a work of art, is it's because it's a work of heart. Take it down there. Doesn't affect the pocket. With this tiny little strip here. And you can go through your offcuts, see what you can find. Brown offcut. Leave a little barcode strip. Like barcode strips are very, very useful little things. So that's what I'm going to do with that one. blue. The light blue on the inside. Not. Okay. Fussy cut scissors, just extra. There we go. And then find this tiny little extra. This is all just because I'm a little bit fussy. Not necessary. But there you have protein mats in place as well. Next page. This page is stars and chevrons. So my stars and my chevrons. They need to be cut down to 4.5. Yep, I've used this quote already, so don't feel bad about it being covered away. And we're going to use this quote on the second sheet on the next page. So please don't feel bad that we're using the back of these pages. We're going to cut them both down to 4.5. Doing in front of the camera. So 4.5. Come off a little. It shouldn't be there. Yeah. Off. There's a bit of an overlap. It's fine. Trim that down so I can have some of that orange. 3.5. Okay, that's not worth trimming down. We won't end up with much at all. Okay, so we're going to stick it like that. Before we do, we're needing to find our blue piece. Blue piece, which is a leader vase. Right, do the pole again. Okay, we're going to do something different. You've got this big offcut. Right, we need to cut a strip that is 1 inch by 5.5. 1 inch by 5. So we're going to do it together. Any offcut. So I need to be 1 inch wide. I'm going to cut with the grain. 1 inch wide. This way. Okay. And then it needs to be, okay, so it's at 5 at the moment, which is fine. We're needing to form a little belly band. So with this belly band, because we're doing it on the fly here, let's first make our lives a little easier. These two together need to equal 6 3/4 inches. So we're going to take tape. I really like the brown stars. I'm going to switch this right way. Tape. That's 6 3/4. So there is the top. Six 3/4. There we go. Perfect. Then I'm going to take thin tape, one side of the wood grain. We need to be adaptable today, aren't we? All right. And then I'm going to put this tape. Ultimately, we're wanting this to be folded around. So I'm going to strip this tape off. There's not going to be much to fold over and around. Tape on that as well, just to secure it. The whole point of this belly band, in my opinion, was to cover that join. So you need to make sure it goes over that join. Wasn't the nicest thing to see. The join, top of that. Right. Now we haven't scored or anything because we won't show the measurements, so I'm going to just force fold it. It then opens up to this side. Again, you'll see it's the top of that join there. And fold it back. So again, I pull a piece of tape so I can stick to the base of the album. Then we have our belly band. And stick him in place. I'm trying to find the bit that flips in there. Oh, we'll sort it out as we go. There we go. So F2 is what gets put in there. So F2. And all I did with F2 and your little quote pieces is this cute little quote that says, "Future ladies man." Not really the nicest quote, but picture's cute. So just one piece of tape along the back on the left hand side, it's upside down. Let's face the bottom. Like that. The little prints was from the fussy cut sheet. It can be stuck up there like that. Let's just quickly do it. Okay. A bit easier, so I'm just going to thin little strips that don't interfere with the dress like that. There you go. So we've got our onto the next page. pages are running out now. So we are needing E2. You have E2, and then that cute little quote about superhero lives here. A superhero lives here needs to be trimmed down to be 4.5 as well. So again, I go a little bit from each side, try to keep as much of the actual quote as possible. You see it's sitting at 5, we're needing it to sit at 4.5. So I'm just going to trim that blue off that side. And then 4.5. Okay, it's still going to have the writing. So I'm going to just fiddle until I get the right sort of distance. 4.5. Fortunately, that does mean a little bit of Bunny's guitar gets cut off. But not the end of the world. Due to our last experience, I'm going to just check that E2 is scored in the right spot. Yes, E2 is scored in the right spot. Okay, so we are going to turn E2 around and put tape on the balloon side. Another roll of tape is the dust. And hear a funny noise in the background. That's actually Dennis using a guillotine. With our older one. I can use our new one. Very squeaky. So we've done this before. Not sure one. So set up. Take the flat bit, leaving the scored bit loose. I'll just scroll back. Again, center, so we have a little white border all the way around. Tape on the score. And a little quote goes in. A little bit of some okay. There you go. Next page. Right, this one we got to do the border again. And we're needing to find our orange squares. So we've already got this quote exposed in one of the little pockets. So we're actually going to use that as the base. And then we have I1. It's a brown piece of paper. This hasn't been cut yet. I1. Not cut to where it should be yet. I1, we're going to cut into 1-inch strips again. Currently sitting at 4.5, so you're going to cut it at 3.5, 3.5, 1. 9 inches. one. And then we're going to set up with a tuber like that, and then we're needing 2 pieces that are going to be sitting at 4.5. So this back, 6 pieces, half, and 4.5. And the total width needs to be 4.5. So we're going to put the tape on to join these up. And the long pieces, the 6-inch pieces, just put one piece of tape on the brown side, on both of them. This one, base at 4.5. This piece is already at 4, so we're only adding 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. Same with this side. Easier now. Ruler. At 4.5. Straight. At 0. Trim down to make the corners tiny. This 1/2 is okay. I'm going to trim down again. So what I'm going to do is join them. Just like we joined previously. This time the page needs to be a total of 7. And we are sitting at 6. So we're putting on 1/2 inch to the top and the bottom. There, there. And then we're going to move the big piece to 1/2 inch. Straight. And then we're going to do the same till we get to 7 inches. It's not looking very neat and tidy. There's some things not lining up, so I'm just going to trim that down to line up. That's a bit neat and tidy. My gaps aren't perfect, but that leaves space for me to embellish. So all your imperfections actually leaving space. Like I had this my little star, I'll put that down on this corner, on this page, to detract from this being broader than the top. So you use all your little imperfections to your benefit. Give yourself some more space to work with and embellish. Even journal. Note yourself not to do this in a class again. Unfortunately, the little girl album does have the same creating a border with thinner pieces of paper. After that, I will not do that again. Maybe your fold lines. Tight. There you go. Next step is D3. D3. D3 is this little guy. Again, please make sure your paper's the right way up. Although we're using the stripy side, when you turn over, you still need to be able to see that the pictures are the right way up. It's D3 going in place with the cubist or quotes, with the places you will go. Trim it down. All I did here was the thinnest piece of tape. But fine to secure it. Because I quite like the brown chevrons at the back as well. There's a pin. And there you go. Open it open. Next pieces you will be needing are D5 and 6. D5 and 6. And B1. D5 and 6 and B1. Okay, we've done this method of a pocket before on this album. We're getting to practice a few things. The D5 and D6, we're just going to put tape on the narrow strip on the stripy side. So on the score line, but the narrow side of the score line. Can't talk properly. On both of them. Simple. Straightforward. Okay. You can stick them down. So bottom fold, folding downwards at the bottom. Folding, opening upwards at the top. Okay, so do that. And then they're going to be joined together with that. So initially I'm going to put tape joining these two. Pocket. Okay. And it does seem a bit overkill. You can choose which side you want to put your things. Up to you. I think I'll change it up for a change. I like the 2 balloons. I'm going to swap it over. Remember not to put on the open side of your pocket, which is the right-hand side. Just remind you, that goes there. There. Your open side. So on the right-hand side. Even as possible. There we go. That little quote. He's in there. There we go. So it just appears in there completely. That's why we have this little tab. Next page is A3. A3. Now I've done this before as well. So A3, we actually want it to end there. We're going to first add our only little embellishments. So when you open up, that's when you see the guitarist, the airplane. Up. Up. So on the back, where there's a little bunny on a bicycle, that's where we're putting our tape. Nice board, straightforward one. Next actual page. It's G3 and A1. A1, so just open up like that. Not quite the same, but we will make it work. So for this one, we're wanting to attach this to that and then unfold. So we're going to actually just score it again at 1/2 inch. Inch, we just going to score it. Big deal. And it will work the same way. 1/2 inch. and trim off 1/2 inch from the other side. So we're currently sitting 8.5. We're going to now take it down to 8. Again, I want to stick this on first before stick it into the album. On your score line, some tape. Dangerous. That. And then just stick it into the book. After assembly, I'll leave you to do your embellishing. I just want to show you a couple of the chipboards just to make you aware of what I did with them. So if you're not too familiar with the chipboard, and also with the acetate. But we're approaching finish very quickly now. Oven. And place it goes. So next up is C2, F7 and 6. C2, F7 and F6. And they're going to go like that. First, we can stick down the dotties. Position centered. They have lots of fussy cut elements you can add. You have quite a few little quotes, things you can slip into your pockets or use to embellish. With the acetate and the chipboard that came with the pack. But I'll run through the acetate and the chipboard with you as soon as I've stuck this piece down. And make sure it's the right way around. There you go. Right. From here, obviously you have got a lot of elements that have been fussy cut out. So just putting that on, you can see the difference Just playing a bit with balloons. We'll only use the bigger balloon there. There's a bigger balloon somewhere. There. So on the chipboard, I'll quickly actually do the chipboard with you. So I'll grab one for you. Sorry for that. The chipboard. This is the most complicated thing I did with chipboard on this particular project. Oh, sorry, just to point out, I'm a little bit funny when it comes to covers need to be super cute. So I went and I fussy cut in between the spokes, the wheels. You really don't have to do that. I would recommend though, when there's a big white gap like that, just to fussy cut that out. That doesn't take much extra, but does make a good effect to the album. So for the chipboard, just cut it out quickly. Ombre's been around forever now. Most people know how to do it, but it's good to have a little reminder. And as you find easier ways to do it, it's also pretty handy. There's our title. Another stone that shouldn't be there. Nice and easy. So all the only colors I used, try my English today. Only colors I used they were all Burst Magics. It's White Cloud, Ocean Depth, and Aspen Mist. First of all, just to make my life easier, just went wild. So cover the whole thing with Aspen Mist. Don't have to be professional about it. It's just to get a wet surface. And then, so I don't want to ruin my pad. Over with Ocean Depth. So pretty much Ocean Depth to about halfway. I'm pretty much from Believe in Yourself to halfway of Believe in Yourself. I did majority in this. So nice and dark up at the top. Now I moved on to Aspen Mist. Aspen Mist was to above Move. Now let's straight out a little bit. This over. Don't let your ink pads meet, so you will ruin it. When there's a gap like that, that's fun. Then I took a finger dauber, or you can use a paintbrush, whatever you want, and just drag the color down. This is where that white coat helps, because it was already wet, the surface, so it moves the ink around a little bit easier than if you just gone straight on with the color. Just slowly work it in. And then Aspen Mist, you go from the white Oh, Aspen Mist. It's just running dry. And there you go. That simple, that easy for the title. So that's ombre. So I used Cloud White, essential to have in your stash, Aspen Mist, Ocean Depth. Just those three with finger daubers just to maintain your little ink pads that don't get contaminated. A little extra bits I need to tell you about. All right, here, just to give the dimension, there's little blocks of foam tape, different levels. Here's the acetate behind one of the speech bubbles and one of the chipboards. This was just the Aspen Mist again. The Aspen, no, what's it called? Ocean Depth, sorry. Ocean Depth. With a little piece of acetate underneath that. So these are just raw, quite like the raw chipboard. There's another piece of acetate. Put double-sided tape next to each other at the back. Put it down and then just rubbed out all the air bubbles. Again, acetate, same way. Same way. Okay, so this is pumpkin spice. So the speech bubble was done in pumpkin spice. Then I used some off-cut pieces of paper behind there, so I stuck it onto the off-cut piece. After I'd colored the chipboard, let it dry, then trimmed around, and then put Big Dream, and that is just the raw chipboard on top like that. And that's it. Simple as that. A few little extra bits and pieces on the top and at the back. But that is your little Prince album done. Hope you enjoyed it. Be back with Little Princess.